What I wanted to talk about today is how I'm remediating our clothing for mold. So I think back in San Diego, we had a mold problem, and basically it started when I was in college and I just lugged everything around with me place to place to place, kind of infecting everything else, but also keeping me sick. And so this is a big part of what I'm trying to do out here, is feel better for myself and help other people to feel better if that's what they want. So just gonna break down what I'm doing to clean our clothes from mold. And it's not really a how-to, but there's websites, and I'll put a link to the website I'm using in the description. I found it to be helpful if you want to seek the advice of a doctor, and this is all assuming that you're sick with a mold type illness or a mold caused illness, which can be very tricky to figure out. But if you want to see a mold doctor, I highly recommend going to someone like that, because they'll know what to do more than just cleaning your clothes. This is a good first step, but you also have to leave the building that's making you sick. So if it's from your home, you're gonna have to move, and there's kind of just, I mean, you wouldn't have to necessarily move permanently, but you'd have to have the whole house remediated, and you'd have to live somewhere else. So if you think your home or another building is making you ill, then the first thing you have to do is never go back to that building until it has been remediated. Even if you just walk inside for a few minutes, that can be enough to set you off and kind of start the cycle over again. We've moved, and I'm just trying not to bring any mold into the house, so this is what I'm doing. Basically, I have this 3% ammonia, and then distilled water. You need to use distilled water because chlorine and ammonia react and produce this nasty gas that is harmful. So distilled water doesn't have any chlorine in it, and you're basically going to use 2 of these jugs for every 1 gallon of water. So the jugs are a half gallon, and you're diluting it to 1.5% ammonia. I also have a fancy mask, and this is so I don't have to breathe the ammonia in, because I'm dealing with it for a very long time. And I also have gloves, and I've gone through a couple pair of gloves because the ammonia kind of eats through them. So if you're planning on doing this for a lot of clothing or just a long period of time, then I recommend getting some good heavy duty gloves and maybe rinsing them off with regular water after each use to hopefully maintain their integrity. So the rest of this is probably going to be voiceover because I'm going to be wearing the mask, but just going to go through step by step, showing everyone how I'm hopefully purging mold from our belongings. So I've sped up this recording a little bit just to make things easier. If it seems like I'm moving at light speed, it's because it's twice as fast as normal. But the first thing I normally do is just empty the distilled water into the container, and this just allows for the ammonia to mix in, hopefully at a little bit of a distilled level already, just in case some were to spill or something like that. And then from there I open 4 of the ammonias, and they usually have a seal on the cover, so I just pop the seal open with a knife or something else. I try not to get any on the knife, but yeah, you usually get a little bit. So and then I throw on my gloves. I actually have a better pair of gloves that I decided to stick with. They'll still eat through, the ammonia eats through them eventually, but those gloves work a little bit better. So I'll put a link to them in the description as well. These yellow gloves I ended up not liking as much. They're just a little too bulky, and the ammonia doesn't really stay out of them. So that's what I ended up doing. But then I fill up the little container. You can buy these at any big box store, and I just fill it up with 4 of them. I have 2 left over, so I could do an extra 2 gallons basically. So you have a gallon of water and a gallon of ammonia. So then I just submerge all of the clothing and try to get everything as fully submerged underneath the layer as possible. And from there, I let it sit for about a minute. After letting the clothing soak for a minute or more, I start to wring it out. And this just allows you to reuse more of the ammonia and for your clothes to dry faster. It gets pretty hot out here in Texas, so the clothes dry fairly quick. But again, the ammonia isn't exactly cheap, so being able to spread it out among more and more clothing definitely is helpful. So I just throw the clothes out on the line, just one piece at a time, and eventually it gets to the point where I can fill the bucket back up with more clothing. So I think we'll skip ahead to that. So I've got most of my clothing set up on the line, either in view or out of view, and I go in and put a second set of clothing in, and again, let it sit for at least a minute, if not more. And once I'm done with that, then I'm able to bring the laundry inside and use the website, basically, that their instructions to continue to clean the clothing. But this neutralizes the mycotoxin and allows you to bring your clothes safely into your home where you can continue to wash and clean them. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your time, and I hope this video helps everyone. God bless and have a great day.